know that during slavery, our ancestors were not allowed to marry. Marriage wasn't allowed. But we created our own ritual. We jumped that broom. And we know that when slavery ended, there were no 40 acres. There were no mules. During slavery, the folks said that the harshest punishment that could have been rendered against the slave, it wasn't the whip or the lash. You know what it was? It was separation from the family. When slavery ended, black men and black women roamed through the South. No, we didn't have 40 acres. No, we didn't have mules. We didn't have any money. Most of us didn't have any shoes, tattered garments. Whatever we had, we were carrying. Walking through the South looking for each other. Husbands looking for wives. Wives looking for husbands. Siblings looking for each other. Children looking for parents. African Americans have a long and glorious history of loving and supporting each other. As late as the turn of the century, do you know that 90% of our children were born into two-parent households? In 1970, 75% of children of African ancestry were born into a nuclear family. There's a war on black people. There's a war on black people. And it's the war that's preventing us from coming together in ways that we need to. And what I want to talk a little bit about tonight is the importance of loving and understanding yourself. Because I believe that no matter how hard we may try to heal the wounds between us, if those wounds exist, I don't know about the rest of you, but I love black men. You know, I'm not angry at any black men. In fact, you know, the folks who know my personal history, my mother will say to me, how could you have your ex-husband, your ex-husband come and have dinner with us on Thanksgiving? Not that she doesn't like him, she just doesn't understand how I can relate to him like that, you know? And the people who know what happened in that relationship, I'm home. I was born in this neighborhood. This is my neighborhood. Y'all are family, so I'm going to tell you all the truth, you know. I was in a relationship that was very painful and that was violent. And the people who know about that relationship will always say to me, how could you even entertain having a dialogue with your former husband? You know what I have to remember? Nobody made me marry him. Nobody dragged me down any aisle. Nobody tied me up and said, you must say I do. Nobody threatened me. I chose that person. And what I've learned during the 20 years between that marriage and the new marriage I've just entered into is that it's not about looking for the right person. It's about becoming the right person. With myself, the things that I have blamed men for are the very things that need fixing in me. The very things that need fixing in me. We have got to learn how to love ourselves. We have got to give ourselves permission to love ourselves. We have got to make our own lives our number one priority. And this is particularly hard for women. This is particularly hard for black women to do. You know why? Because we're raised to serve. We're raised to believe that everything and everybody is more important than we are. And while we know that we have a responsibility to our families, to our husbands, to our children, to our lovers, to our community, to our work, there is no greater responsibility than the responsibility we have to ourselves. And it's so often that we hear, and I know you hear it all the time, you black women are so evil. Don't we hear it all the time? And it's not that black women are evil. It's that we are tired. Sisters are tired. Tired. If you look at the work, you know, what we have to do is really empathize with each other. We have to seek to understand what each other's lives are like. Sisters have a long and glorious history of work, a real painful history of work. You think about what black women did in this country. We washed, cooked, cleaned, and ironed for our families, took care of our parents, took took care of our grandparents when necessary, our husbands' parents and grandparents. Then went to the other side of town, washed, cooked, cleaned, and ironed for white America. Took care of their parents and their children. Came back to the black community, baked sweet potato pies to build Abyssinian Baptist Church. That's what black women have done in America. So, I think that maybe I can explain something. Sisters, you know, what sisters are saying to brothers today is that we're just tired. Don't want to be the only one responsible for caring for the children. Don't want to be responsible because of our gender for cleaning the house solely. Don't want to be responsible for the cooking, the cleaning, the washing, the ironing, the taking the kids to, you know, to the hairdresser, to the barber, to all the services that they need in order to look good and grow. We don't want that to be our responsibility because of our gender. And we understand that it shouldn't be the responsibility of our brothers to bring all the income in, that we have to throw away that European concept because it doesn't work for us. We've got to become partners in this. I can't help but just feeling, I'm not even looking at Reg, but I can feel you. This is a brother. Reg, just stand up for a moment, because I want the brothers to see you. This is Reginald Oliver. He is married to the editor of Essence, my partner. I don't think you're my husband. He's married to the woman who really makes my life possible, the person who I work with more closely than anybody on the magazine. This is a brother, Rich, and I hope I don't embarrass you by saying this. This is a brother who is deeply spiritual, who is loving and caring. This is a brother who takes care of all the cooking in the home. This is the brother who allows Stephanie to stay at work until 7 and 8 o'clock at night sometimes, because he knows that what we're doing is trying to build something that's going to put, this is not just a magazine. We're trying to put an underpinning of love and security beneath our people. So Reg doesn't say because Stephanie is a woman, she's got to cook, she's got to clean, she's got to wash, she's got to iron. Reg says the business that I'm doing leaves me closer to home. I have more flexible time than you do. I'm going to take care of business. And he's a man, a whole man. What we have to do is look into each other's hearts. And I say, brothers, look at your mother's lives. We know how hard our mother's lives were. How our mothers washed, cooked, cleaned, and I did all the work without complaining. Well, my mother did a lot of complaining. She let me know that she did not want to do this, but had to do it. Had to do it. You know, I say to my sisters, what we're talking about is understanding. Sisters, don't ever call another black man trifling. Unless you have walked through this America in a brother's shoes, that is not your experience. You don't know what it's about. And if there's a man in your life who is mistreating you, let that brother go. Turn him loose. You know? Don't tear him down. Don't tear him down. Don't call him names. Don't pick up the phone and talk to your girlfriends about how bad he is. Don't put your hand on your hip and your finger in the brother's face. Cut it loose. Cut it loose. The very women, I have really never said this, but this has been stirring in my heart for a long time. The very sisters who I hear say, there are no good men, there are none available, there aren't enough healthy ones to love, have no men. The ones who say that have no men. Because you know one thing I know about life, whatever you believe is so in your life. Whatever you believe, whatever you espouse, whatever you hold on to is what you're going to attract to yourself. My friends said to me a couple of months ago, they said, you know, girlfriend, you always said you wanted to be married again. Well, it was 19 years between marriages. And yes, I am married again, and I hope that I have picked the divine right man. I don't wait for a man to pick me. I pick who I want. I do my own selecting. And I mean, I don't know, because you know what I do know? I know that there are no guarantees, that nothing is, not even the next breath is promised. So I don't know if that relationship is going to going to be there tonight. I don't know if it's going to be there next year. I don't know if it's going to be there when I'm 70 years old, but I know it's there now. And the brother who I'm married to, Kefra, is not here tonight. You know why? Because he's in school for me. He's in my class at Fordham University, taking my notes in my biology class. But let me tell you, when people first heard that I was going out with Kefra Burns, a brother who was living in a 2-room apartment in Harlem, a poet, a righteous brother who loves and serves black people, people shook their heads and said, what is Susan Taylor going out with Kefra Burns for? She should be with somebody who's a corporate captain or an ambassador. Everybody knows what's best for you better than you. And you see, if you don't take quiet time, if you don't get to know yourself, if you don't practice loving yourself, you'll believe what other people tell you. I say to sisters all the time, sisters will tell me, I really want a good man, I want a relationship. And I'll say, well, what about so-and-so? And invariably a sister will say, I can't go out with him, he's shorter than me. I can't go out with him, he's got a bald spot. I can't go out with him, that brother has no money. I can't go out with him because that brother messes up his verbs. Okay. Well, you know what I say? I'll say to the sister, well, I thought you were looking for love. If you're looking for love, you've got to look beyond the accoutrement. You've got to look beyond what that sister looks like. Because we're not going to always be fine, firm, and forever 22. Okay? And brothers, that causes us a great pain as women. It hurts us that you cast us aside when we turn 40 and 50 and 60 and 70 years old. It hurts us. We're not going to always be 25 like Lisa. Did it 25 and this is not how I'm going to look at 70. But you see, when I'm 70 years old, I want to be loved. I want to be held. I want to be made love to. When I'm 70 years old, even when my breasts are as flat as pancakes, I want my brother to take those breasts and hold them and kiss them and rub them. That's what I want my man to do when I'm 70. I want to be loved. I want to be loved when my hiney is hanging down to the backs of my knees. I still want to be loved. I want to be loved. I want to be loved without my title. I want to be loved without my salary. I want to be loved without my extensions and without my makeup. I want to be loved. Pick the right life partner. That means that we have to be selective, but that we have to use a new basis for choosing each other. We have to find people, we have to select each other for who we are inside, for the part of us that's going to get better. So if you begin to look to who the person is inside, if you're not concerned with what corporation they work for or the job they don't have, you're not concerned whether or not that person has a car, how they speak. You're concerned with whether or not you and that person can build something together. Because you know what? That's why we're here. We're here to build. And in order to build, what we have to do is use all the oars that we have in the water to pull smartly in the same direction. You and me, brothers and sisters, working together hard. The love that you give yourself is the cake. That's the whole substance. The love that a man or a woman gives you is the icing on the cake. And we have to know that our happiness is not based on relationships. It's not based on money. It's not based on material things. Because those things are here today and going tomorrow. Our happiness is based on something deeper and more visceral than that. Our personal happiness is based on the personal relationship that we have to God. That power and that force It's not in Bibles, it's not in crystals, it's not in Korans, it's not in rosary beads or in statues. It's in you. We are human and divine. We are more than what meets the eye. So those times when we have no lover, that's fine. Hug your own selves. Pat your own cheek. Call your own self sweetie pie. So when that lover comes along, you can say, this is how I like it. This is how I like to be held. You know? This is how I like my feet rubbed. Self-love, that's really where it begins. Self-love, the relationship that you build with yourself. And I think that self-love is so deeply connected